Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wild Wednesday, where we share words of wisdom. Today, we're going to be talking about you are identified as damage control. You have been identified as damage control. Consider that a worthy compliment that might be hilarious to some of us. But when you think of what we do, you think of the professions that we have and what we're involved in. Some of us, many of us, deal with a lot of damage control. And let me just kind of give an example. If you work in a field, whatever field it is, notice how you are the one that they're giving the bad things to. They give you the people that are least favorable, the ones that give you all the trouble. They'll give you the bad schools. They'll give you all of the caseload that has all the bad, negative folk on the caseload. They'll give you the lesser thing because they want you to be the one to do the damage control. You are the damage control person. You're the one that comes in. You take what's messed up. You take all this stuff and you make it beautiful. You turn it into something good. They know you have the ability. They know you're capable. Prime example, when I first started working, I worked in the school district. Oh, I was so excited. I was like, oh man, pumped up, just ready to just get in there, young, tender, young lady, in the early 20s and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to work. They gave me 3 of the worst schools. Y'all, they gave me 3 of the worst schools. Now, not no good, like you go in there, you all sophisticated. No, they gave me some work. You best to believe I had some work for those 3 years that I worked in those schools. Oh my God. Hell and high water. I went through it. You wouldn't believe all the stuff that I had to go through. Those 3 years. Paperwork, unbelievable. Unbelievable paperwork. The kids were out of this world. I don't know. I'm like, look, I know, we didn't come up this way. I'm looking like, man, what is this? I have never been on this rough side of the mountain. But I went through it with the paperwork, the kids, and the staff. The folk that I had to work around. Oh Lord, you talking about if I didn't pray, didn't have a prayer life, I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to make it. Here I am, young and jumping and just popping here and there and everywhere. I'm thinking I can handle all this stuff. Boy, I never took so many mental breaks from the job. I had to get out of there because I said, look, my sanity is important. I was just young. I had 2 kids at that time, going through those years. Had 2. And I'm like, look, I'm taking a sick leave today. It's called a mental break. Mental break. I had to do that because they gave me a lot of damage control. And I made sure I look. Those schools, when I left, everything was up to par. Everything was set. There were a lot of children that lives were impacted through, me working with them as a speech therapist. And, they really impressed upon me as well. One of the young ladies I know, Erica, I talked about her before, turned her whole life around. She was one of those students that just was really out there and just, she was fighting all the time. She was just so angry, had a whole lot of anger inside of her. And I just remember the times, I had to put out a lot of fires with her, and I had to love on her and just show her that love that she was not receiving. And God just did an awesome work in her, and she is doing so many wonderful things right now. And I'm just happy for her. And sometimes, you look at that. Sometimes you look at things and you say, man, they set me up. Man, why do I always get the short end of the stick? Why do I always have to get the treatment? Why they give me the thing that they picked over? Or why was I the last person to get selected for something? And then they give me the worst room. I'm stuck in a closet and everybody else got portables and everybody else got it. All of that. You may be saying, why I had to go through it? Because you have been identified as damage control. You know how to take something that's been damaged and you know how to fix it. God gave you that ability. It may not sound pretty and sophisticated. It may not sound like you're going to be sitting in a blissful situation or sitting in a nice padded seat, If you sitting down on the ground sometimes, but or in a seat with some not sanded down wood and all this kind of stuff. But no, you have the ability to make changes as need be. They wouldn't have put it in your hands. They would not have trusted you with it if you weren't capable. Notice. Now, when they put it in your hand, doesn't it get done? You do the work, don't you? You get the job done. But you find yourself seem like you constantly having to do that damage control type stuff. My husband, he talks about it a lot too. I have probably burned his ears about things that I have had to deal with, even from a racial standpoint and all of that. But, he talks about how every time he gets a caseload from someone who has left, he has to go back behind them and fix everything. So, well, yeah, you just been identified as a damage control person. You don't like to hear that, but I mean, that's just what it is. It's what it is, They know you're going to get the job done. Now, the person that left it undone, they probably knew, oh yeah, they gonna do that. But we needed someone to go in to do damage control. Go in there, control that damage, fix what needs to be fixed so that we can stay afloat and we can look good. He always has high recommendations on his job about his performance because they always put him in positions where he is being identified as a damage control person. And I said, over the years, I have found myself in those same type situations. And as loyal as I am, I stick with it until it gets done. Now, sometimes you go through things, maybe in your health, maybe, you go through stuff because you're trying to be loyal and you want to be dedicated. You want to do that. You got to realize when enough is enough, though, in those type situations. You can be the person that can do damage control, but when it gets to the point where it's affecting you, it's affecting your marriage, it's affecting your household structure, it's affecting your body, breaking you down and stuff like that, then it's time to pull away. It's time to let somebody else take that load. You know what I'm saying? Or take that task. Because you might have bitten off more than you can chew. Even though you may be qualified to do it, does not necessarily mean that you're the capable person to do it, because in this season, you may not be able to do that. In this season, you may need some rest. I've had to turn down some opportunities and turn down some things because, I can already see the stress level and the things that I was going to have to sacrifice to put myself in those positions, even though my heart was pulling in that direction. I'm like, okay, I just can't put those fires out over there. I just can't do damage control over there because my health is important. My family is important to me. I want to be here for them. That type of stuff. You start thinking about that stuff. So you got to pick those battles. You got to figure out, which ones are you willing to contend with. There are some that you will be able to contend with that will not exhaust you and overexert you to the point where you just can't give nothing else. So you got to learn yourself, and you got to learn how to direct and channel yourself in those specific areas. But God will lead you as well. He will lead you as well. And one thing about God, when he gives you those qualities and things, he puts those abilities in us for a reason, you know. And there's so many lines of work, if you think about it, so many different lines of work that require people to do damage control. There are a lot of people out there that do damage control. I applaud you if that's you. If that's your profession, that's what you do. I applaud you. I applaud the behind the scenes people. I'm a behind the scenes person. I love being behind the scenes because it takes pressure off of me. You know, I don't like to be up front. I'm not an upfront person. Now, this type of stuff right that I do, it comes natural to me because it's just in me to do, you know, and I'm just I thrust myself out a lot of times. Sometimes I try to pull people with me and they don't want to follow, and I'm like, okay. And I know it's burning in my heart, so I just can't drop it. I have to do it. So I just go on with it, you know. And so you just have to have that get up and go and determination to say, no matter what, if I'm just there by myself, I know God is with me and I'm going to press through because he gave me this passion. He gave me this desire, and I'm just not going to just let it die because God is counting on me. You know, he's put an investment in me, and I have to make the return on the investment that he made. So I just can't play with this thing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how you have to feel. That's how you have to come to that type of conclusion about your life. It's like, I'm not going to play with this thing. I've been playing for a long time. Because I've been a child and now I'm old, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. So I am in a place where I'm old now because I have gone and through a lot of things. And so you get to that place. You're like, ain't no time for no games no more. Who trying to play some games with God? Oh no, we don't play games with God. You know, you want to do what he is calling you and commissioning you to do, you know, and whether it be the person who's in the trenches, the person who's behind the scenes that doesn't get looked at as much. Those are the people bearing those that are in the high positions up. Take glory in that. Hey, be happy in the fact that you are partaking of that because you have a great reward. Those behind the scenes people, they do so many awesome things. I mean, they make it look so easy. You know what I'm saying? They make the person that comes out, all they got to do is just slide on because they make it look so easy, you know? So hats off to all of those that work in the trenches, those that work behind the scenes. I applaud you. Those that do damage control, you've been identified as a person that does damage control. The person that is called to do the work that nobody else wants to do. We know. Don't nobody else want to volunteer or stand up or raise their hand to do it, but they call you to do it. You didn't even ask to do it. I applaud you. I appreciate you. I'm even thankful for the garbage collectors, those that collect the garbage, the recycling bin trucks that come through. You know, I'm grateful. I see people working on the roads. I speak to them. Hey, great job. Appreciate you. These are behind the scenes folk working in the trenches that people don't recognize. Plumber come by fixing. Hey, woo, I thank you. You're doing an awesome job. Just letting people know how much you value them, how much you appreciate them, even when they're going through the trenches and doing the dirty work. The dirty work. See, the people that are doing all the dirty work, they don't get all the credit. They don't get recognized. They don't get acknowledged. But we need to acknowledge them because every job is important. Every job is important. It may not seem important in a lot of people's eyes, but let those lights be out in your house, and the electrician need to come by and fix your house. Woo, you're gonna be thanking him when he finishes or she finishes, fixing on those lights and all that type stuff. Or let your water, let that sewage system be bagged up, and then you trying to get some water, or you trying to take a bath or something. You can't do that. All right, y'all. People that are in those positions, we thank you. Thank you for those that are in the front. We also thankful for those that are in the back, behind the scenes. You know, they carry just as much weight, and God looks at them the same, because it's what's in the heart. It's that passion, what is driving you to do what you do, and you love what you do, regardless of if somebody do that or not. But just being grateful that I have the ability. God gave me this ability, this creativeness, and I'm just going to use it to his glory. I applaud you. I thank you. I appreciate you. This is our Wow Wednesday, you all. I pray that something that I said encouraged you. You have been identified as damage control, as a damage control person. Consider that a worthy compliment. Amen. Love you. God loves you more. Be prayerful. Be careful out there. Always keep God first. And we will be back for another Wow Wednesday. All right, you guys. Bye-bye now.